Hello, my friends. Welcome back to Melanie Smith Stamps. I am Melanie, and if you're joining for the first time, I'd like to welcome you to my channel, and I hope by the end of the video you'll hit that like button, and hopefully you'll subscribe as well. Today I am playing with the Glimmer of the Month from Spellbinders. This is the Tropical Bloom Glimmer. It has a beautiful foil plate here. As you can see, this gorgeous lotus bloom, and then two foiling sentiments. It also, I have here over on the side, it also comes with the coordinating dies as well. I have those backwards, but they have the coordinating dies as well right there. So it is 3 foiling plates and 2 cutting dies. This month, Spellbinders has a little surprise in the Deluxe Caboodle, which is the entire collection of the month. And you don't just get 1 extra from the Caboodle, but you actually get 2 free gifts with your Caboodle this month. There is a better press plate that coordinates with 4 cute sentiments that can be better pressed or foiled. And these come with the 4 press plates and 4 coordinating dies, which you will see in upcoming videos. They're adorable because they have a little toucan of my appreciation. Apparently, it's your birthday. I will always stand by you, and you are sweet to the core, which coordinate with the adorable tropical themes of this month's club. And then there's this 2-piece stencil set that beautifully colors our lotus bloom. So we are going to be using that in our cards today. So let's jump into crafting, and we are going to do 2 techniques today with this lotus bloom and color it up in 2 different ways. And then I have 1 extra bonus card at the end of the video to show you as well. So let's begin playing. So here we have the 2 stencils that coordinate with this gorgeous flower. And I've hot foiled the flower in the hot foil that came with this month's club. This is the fuchsia flower, I believe, hot foil. And I've chosen some Distress Oxide colors. I've never used Distress Oxide actually inking over foil, so this will be interesting to see how this turns out. Now I'm starting with my lightest color. I believe this is milled lavender. I'll make sure to put the colors up on the screen before the end of the video. And I'm just coloring over and filling in. I'm not trying to do any shading on this flower, knowing that I'm just going to fill these in solid rather than do any type of multiple colors in each space. The Distress Oxide inks are pretty solid inks, and so I thought I would just do single layers of ink on this, and we'll just see how it turns out. So I'm layering the second stencil, and we're going to use the darker of the 2 purples. And we'll just line those up and ink that on. And like I said, I'm just doing the basic of inking here. Nothing too serious, just filling in the spaces of the stencil. I didn't want to get too crazy trying with Distress Oxides for the first time over foil. I wasn't sure if it was going to completely be a train wreck or if it was going to turn out. So this is how we experiment. And remember what I always say, that it's just paper. You can always refoil it and try it again with a different ink. So just play with your paper and play around with your inks and see what happens. Well, there's a little bit of white space along the edges. So I'm just moving this stencil over just a tad. That's just a little bit of user error there. And I'm just going to go back in and just fill that little tiny white space there. It's really simple to fix your errors when you are a little off. And that's the beauty of stencils, is it's really a no-brainer type of craft. So now we just have a little bit of green to fill in the stem with. And I've chosen a green, and I'm just going to use the little portion of the stencil here that's made for the stem. I have to grab myself a green ink brush, a blender brush, and I'm just going to fill that little bitty area in. Perfect. Oh, I missed a little tiny bit at the top there. Now we have it perfect. So here is a close-up. I'll show you here real quick. And it's pretty solid, but look, your foil is still showing through really nicely. So I was really pleased with the way that turned out. I was not sure it was going to work out. So that is our first technique using our Distress Oxides. And like I said, it's Wilted Violet, Milled Lavender, and Lucky Clover. So those are your colors if you want to reproduce this. Now let's move on to our second coloring. Now I'm going to use Copics this time, and we're going to color over the foil. I've chosen 3 colors of pinks from the R family, and we're just going to start with the lightest color. I'm not going to make you sit through the entire flower. We're just going to do a couple petals here and a couple petals towards the end, just to make it so you can get the idea. But feel free to watch these over and over again and pause. And I'm doing this in real time and not sped up for you so that you can see the actual process and not feel rushed during this actual coloring. But I'm using the lightest marker, and right now I'm just filling in and getting the paper saturated. One thing with Copic markers is you do want to blend on wet card. But you have to realize that alcohol markers do dry quickly. So you want to kind of be quick. And if you don't feel like you're quick enough, that's R81, by the way. If you don't feel like you're quick enough, then do just little segments at a time if you're not getting the blends that you want. So now I'm flicking up from the darkest area, which is where I want my darkest shadow, and I'm flicking up into the light space where I want my highlight, which is there in the center to the top of that petal. To me, the deepest, darkest section is where all those petals come in to meet together. That's where all of it's going to curve in, right there where my tip of my marker is. So that is where I'm putting my darkest markers. And I'm going to go back and forth here. That way I get a good blend. Like I said, I want to do this when it's wet. So I'm going back and forth with my markers from the darkest in the crevice to the medium in the middle area. And what I'm doing is using that dark right here, and then I'm using the medium to pull the dark to the center. And that blends the colors. So here it is. I'm bringing that by dragging the tip of my marker from the tip of the dark out to the center highlight. And then you will use the lightest marker to blend the tip of the medium into the light. And that will give you your 3-color blend. So I'm just adding a little bit more dark here to give it a little extra contrast. I like to finish a lot of times with the dark, but and then I'm just adding an extra layer here, just blending it in little areas that I see that I need it. I just love this pink color blend. I believe it's R81, 83, and 85. I will put those up on the screen towards the end though. So now I'm using my lightest marker and I'm flicking, like I said, from the end of the medium through about halfway through the lightest there on the edge. Now, I'm not going all the way to the end most of the time because I want the lightest area to stay light. When you go over your markers, even light over light, it gets darker. So to keep the lightest area the lightest, you want to leave it untouched and don't go over it again. So whatever's going to be your lightest, don't go all the way out over it. So there I have my dark to my light, and I'm pretty happy with that at this point. There's a couple areas that I saw some streaks or where it wasn't blended perfectly well, so I just went in there and fixed that. And there you can see there's a highlight on the end and then the dark towards the inner area. And here I am doing the same thing again on this petal. And this one I actually go a little deeper with. You'll see this one at the end. It is actually darker. It is behind another petal. So I did make it a tad darker than the one in front. So I'm doing the same thing, starting with my lightest marker. I like to go from light to dark and dark to light. That is my go-to method for coloring. Some people just go from dark to light. Others just go from light to dark. I like to go from light to dark, dark to light. I feel like I get the best blend that way. So everybody is different, and every instructor or teacher will teach you differently as well. There's no right or wrong way to color. So you do you, and you do what's best and most comfortable for you. Whatever gives you the outcome that you're after is what you want to do, whatever makes you comfortable. Just like your strokes, if you feel most comfortable flicking out away from your body, then flick outwards. If you feel more comfortable flicking towards yourself, then turn the paper around and flick towards yourself. I can actually do it both directions. I'm comfortable in both directions, but some people really are only comfortable one way or the other. So do what is most comfortable, whichever is going to get you the look that you're after. You really want to go in the direction of the artist's drawn lines when you can, because that will give you the most smoothest looking blend, in my opinion. It won't look foreign, in other words, because it's going in the direction the artist was planning it to go in the first place. So here you can already tell I'm going darker on that darkest marker, because you can already see the depth. And I'm just pulling that dark out a little farther, which is making that darkness even deeper. That's pretty much what's causing it, is I'm bringing the dark out farther. And it's just making the entire blend deeper. The more dark, the darker it gets. So, in dark markers, I know they're scary, but they can make such an impact to your coloring. So don't be scared of them. A little does go a long way, but they do make a huge impact to your coloring once you get used to coloring with them. You get a lot of bang for your buck, so to speak. So I'm really liking the way this is looking right now. It's got nice and dark. And now I'm lightening up the tip just a little bit. As you see here, I'm actually drawing the light back down into it. And this is going to bleach it down just a little bit by adding more of that light in there. And you can see it's lightening up already. I wanted the tip to get just a little lighter at the tip there. And now I'm just going in and darkening just right along the line there. Very little flicks there, just where the line is, where the petals touch. Look at that. Isn't that pretty powerful? The contrast there between the top petal and the back petal. I'm really happy with that one. So I'm going to kind of speed you through here, morph you, so to speak, through the coloring, so you don't have to sit through every single petal, and it saves you a little bit of time because all of them are going to be the same. And then I'm going to switch over to the last two petals, and I'm going to do those two petals a little quicker and both at the same time rather than one at a time. And I do that because when I color faster, the better you get at coloring, the faster your coloring will get. And you can actually do 2 sections instead of 1 section at a time. And that's pretty much what I did on the rest of the entire flower. So I went ahead and did that on the last 2 petals. Here we are here. So that you could see the process of when you're coloring faster, what you can actually accomplish to speed up the process of coloring. So if you're quick enough, you can still get your blend if you just move a little faster. But of course, when you're learning and you haven't been doing this for eons, you want to take it one little area at a time. And I'm just going to do these 2 sections at the same time by just going a little bit faster. It's the same exact technique as I did above. I'm just doing it a little quicker and doing both at the same time. So I really like the way this flower turned out. I think it's going to make a beautiful card in the end. And it just shows you there's different ways to color these. This set might be one that you did buy the whole caboodle and you got the stencil. If you didn't buy the caboodle, there are still so many ways you can color this flower. I mean, you can create a card without coloring it with just the foil. Let the foil do the work for you. And actually, I have a sample here at the end where I show you just that. My bonus card is actually using the foil to its advantage and sharing just the foil and how beautiful it can be. You can also, you can ink blend over it. You can use color pencils. There's so many things you can do to color in your image. So you realize that you don't have to have the stencils to be able to color it and make beautiful cards with these glimmer plates. But if you've got both, you just have, more options. I think it's really generous that Spellbinders has given us 2 free gifts with the caboodle this month. The stencil for this and the Better Press sentiments that coordinate with a lot of the clubs this month. So if you are a caboodle member, you lucked out this month because you're getting 2 free gifts, which is kind of exciting. I think the caboodle is also a very, very good value at 60% off. If you do subscribe, you do get that plus your discount at the website and a whole bunch of early ordering and other special offers throughout the year. So it's a nice club to be a part of. So you see here, I'm just kind of speeding through this, but this is at regular speed. I have not sped this video up on this portion. So I'm just showing that you can do 2 portions at a time. And there we go. Now I'm going to bring in a couple extra colors here of green. But before we color the stem, I want to show you here where I've gone out of the lines just a little bit. So I'm going to take my 0 marker and I'm just going to use it to push that ink back into the lines. As you see here, I'm pushing the ink and rubbing it there a little bit, but the best direction to do it is to actually push it either straight down or right here, I'm pushing it back into the line. And that helps dissolve that alcohol into the paper, and it removes the alcohol ink by bleaching it out of the paper. And as you can see, it disappears for the most part. So that really is a great tip for removing some of your boo-boos when you're coloring. And that is 0, the colorless blender pen. Okay, so now let's go ahead and just color that stem up real quickly. I'm using a couple of greens here. I believe these are yellow greens, but like I said, I will have the colors listed here at the end. And I'm just going to easily color these in, coloring it with the lighter one here completely, and then just coloring the bottom area of the stem with just a tiny bit of shadow. So it's not that detailed of coloring there. Super, super easy. But I just wanted something kind of muted, and that worked for me. So I'm just getting the markers here together so that you can see them, and I'm putting the information up on the screen for you here. It's Copic Markers R81, 83, 85, YG91, and YG93. I hope that is helpful and that maybe you give this tutorial a try. I hope you've enjoyed. Let's get back to our cards now and create them. Okay, we have two cards here we're going to put together. And our stencil card, I thought we would do just a quick and easy card. We will glue this onto a purple card base. I am using Spellbinders cardstock here. And I have glimmered up the sentiment that came with this set in the purple foil that came with the glimmer of the month. So let me show that to you real quick. Let's get that glued down there. This is the glimmer that came with the Spellbinders Club this month. It's called Fuchsia Flower. And here is the way the fuchsia flower looked. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, so I wanted to make sure I mentioned that. But it's a gorgeous purple. And with the sentiment here, when I did the foiling for the sentiment, here's it foiled the regular way. And then here it is reverse foiled. So that gives us options. We can do it reversed like so, or we can do it regular like so. So for this one, I think, I'm going to, just to keep it mostly white, I think I'm going to use the white sentiment on this one. I really like the purples that are in my ink, and so I'm going to use the white to keep the background mostly white. So go ahead and put that right there. Make sure it's centered or straight. And then I'm going to use the Crystal Mix Gems. And these right here, when they're used along with the colored ink, they pick up the coloring that's inside the ink here, which I really like. So you get like a purple shimmer, which I just think is really pretty. Oops, wrong side. So I'm going to get my Take Your Pick tool, and I'm going to pull some of these off here and just kind of scatter them around here to give just some extra bling around our flower. Like so. No rhyme or reason, just adding some extra pretty. I'm using like the two middle sizes here. Got 6 there, so we'll add one more to make it odd. Maybe we'll go down here. There we go. It just gives us a little sparkle there to finish off that card. Super simple. Now for this one here, I pulled in a couple things. I pulled in this embossing folder, which is from, let's see, it is from November 2023 embossing folder of the month, Meandering Floral. And I also brought in the essential arches from there. And I thought we would attach this so that we have a border going all the way around the edge, because I thought that would just be really, really pretty and very dainty. So I think I will bring in some 3D foam tape here and use some of these to give it some height. Like so. Here we go. And then I have this little sentiment here that I have cut and then just notch these edges, and I'll just put that here. And easily attach this to the front of the card. I thought for this card we would use some of the Fashion Bella pearls. They're a really pretty pink color, and I thought they would make a pretty addition to this one. Because of the shape of this sentiment, I'm going to put it down here kind of low, so we still see the majority of the lotus bloom. We're going to set it right like that. And that will still give room for our pearls, which I think will be super pretty along here. Maybe we'll do 3 here. Do them a little different than the other ones. Do a couple small ones. Oops. There we go. And we'll do a couple down here. There we go with that one. So we've got these two. Here is my bonus card, and for this one, I did the foiling, and we used the reversed foiling, that gorgeous foil. I used the foil cardstock and the postage edge there for that one, and that is just letting the foil do all the work for you. So there are my 3 cards. Let me know which one you like best. Leave it down in the comments below and let me know which one is your favorite, and I will see you next time in the next video. Bye bye, my friends.